Alright, so this is my Uncle James and this is my granddaddy Richard, and they're going to be helping me with my interview. So my first question is, where did our family come from?
England.
England. Okay, so how did we get here?
We came from, the Skinners came from Essex, England, and the Bridges, Mama's side of the family came from England, but I don't know exactly what town in England. And they came over in, I'll have to look
You
at
can get approximately.
my notes.
Okay, go ahead, yeah.
Well, sometime in the early 1600s.
Okay, that's good, yeah.
Pretty much the Bridges and the Sharps, which is my mama's family, and the Skinners on Daddy's side came. I know they came over from Essex, England. And I have this, which you have a copy of that. Descendants of William Skinner was the original, and they were. William Skinner was born in Essex, England. The first Skinner that came over to the United States was John Skinner.
Okay.
And he came over somewhere, it says about 1590. So somewhere 1590 to 1600,
Okay.
I'd say.
And so another question I have is, like, how do we know this? Like, where did we get these documents from that say this?
This document I received from a Skinner who put together this, by tracing the family tree. And I knew his brother, and his brother got me a copy of it, that his brother was doing it. And it goes all the way back, like I say, to the original Skinner that came over.
How about the mama's side, the Bridges side?
Well, me and you are the 13th generation.
On Skinner side, the
On
daddy.
the Skinner side.
My
Now,
daddy.
on Mama's side of the family, the Bridges side,
That information.
they came over
Where'd you get that information
from England
Where'd you get the information from mama's side?
in this paperwork.
Where'd you,
Let's see.
is our cousin Betty Bridges?
Yeah, it came from my cousin Betty Jo, where
Betty
she
Jo.
researched it, and Joseph, Colonel Joseph Bridges' daddy, goes back to him, which is, like I say, sometime around the early 1600s. And she thinks the Sharps, which is Mama's mother's side of the family,
Yeah.
came over about the same time or before that.
Okay.
And but I don't have that particular information written down.
So you said on your dad's side, we can trace back 13 generations, right?
Mhm.
And then on your mom's side, did you know how many? Or it was kind of uncertain?
No, I don't know. I don't know the generations. I don't have the family tree
Okay.
on Mama's side of the family.
Okay.
I just
So-
going by what the information here that
Yeah.
my cousin Betty Jo has given me. She's done a lot of research on the family. She's never actually done a family tree.
All right. So on your dad's side, what was the name of the first person that came over?
The first one came over, John Skinner.
You said that was around like 1590.
Yes, 1590. He married a woman in Massachusetts. Her last name was Loomis. Let me see, I've got that. Margaret, okay, hold it. He married Mary Loomis,
Mary Louise.
okay. She was from Massachusetts, and that was sometime around 1639. when
So
they got-
was she born in the U.S.?
I don't have any information on when
No?
she was.
And was he was born in England? You said, and
Yes,
he came over.
mhm.
Yeah,
Essex, England.
Essex, England.
His parents were William Skinner and Marjorie
Marjorie.
Trotter, and they were both from Essex, England.
All right. So maybe a different question would be: do we have any veterans in our family?
Yes. My
You can
our
start
daddy.
from us and build up.
Okay. Well, me and Richard are veterans as far as Richard was in the National Guard. I was in the Army Reserve, and because we were serving in those capacities during the Vietnam War, we're considered veterans in that respect. Now, Tommy, our brother, oldest brother, he was in the Air Force, and he served time in the Air Force. Our daddy was in the Navy. He served time in the Navy, and his brother, Selby Skinner, served time in the Army back in World War II, here in the World War II there.
All right, and something else kind of related. You said that we had family that was in charge of Fort Macon at some time.
Yeah. There's someone in our family that was that headed up Fort Macon at one time. I think it was during the Civil War, but I haven't got my hands back on the information that right now. I'm still looking for that, but I can call my cousin and see. You know.
Now, was that the Bridges side or the Skinner side?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking it was the Bridges side.
Okay.
But I probably say I could call Betty Jo.
Okay.
And she would know about it. She would have it, and I might can get a copy of something to verify that from her.
Okay. And so the next question is, can you tell me any stories? So what I was thinking was you were telling me about how your cousin was researching and trying to make a connection because we had someone in our family was the priest to the king, and you were saying that could make us all kind of related to him. So.
Well, Colonel Joseph Bridges' dad was somehow, I don't know the office name that he had, you know, as far as, but he was in the 1600s, he served under one of the kings at that time, representing the colony over here in the United States. It's in this information. I would have to run it down.
Is he tied into that church?
And he's the one that started and built the church.
Okay, can you show a picture of that? What you got a picture of that church?
Yeah, the poster.
Just
You mean this here?
hold it up.
Yes. Just
Okay.
hold it up.
Just hold it up.
Yeah.
I know it's a big picture, but it can
Let's see.
just show it. The church.
This
The
is
church
put-
was built in what?
1632.
1632. It's probably pretty much the oldest church.
It is the oldest church that's still standing from the original. There's an older church in St. Augustine, Florida,
Right.
but that one is not in existence today. It might be existent, but it has burnt down a couple of times and been rebuilt.
Right.
Rebuilt. So this is the only like original standing.
This is the original
oldest, yeah.
brickwork. Now the inside has been refurbished. You know.
And did you say they use it as a museum?
No, it's still used.
As a church.
It's
As a
used
church.
as a church, and they hold services. I think on the 5th Sunday of the month.
Okay.
Every month they has a 5th Sunday,
Fifth Sunday. Okay.
and they use it for weddings mostly. Now they have built a museum there
Okay.
at it that
Right.
you can people not in the church. It's
In church.
separate from the church.
Right.
On the Bridges property that the Betty Jo and some of the other Bridges bought 10 acres of Colonel Joseph Daddy's land, and they've
And this individual, I think you said, had up to 13,000 acres in that area at one point in time?
well I think he actually had 1,700 acres.
I'll go 1,700.
He built a house at that time that had 1,300 13,000 square feet.
Okay, 13,000 square
Yeah.
feet. I got it mixed up.
So-
Now,
It's in this paper.
you know it's in Southeast Virginia. You don't know exactly the town.
Yeah. Hold on. It's Smithfield. It's 4 miles south of Smithfield, Virginia.
Okay, yeah, 4 miles south of
Smith on Route 10.
Smithfield, Virginia, Route 10.
And just to
okay.
be clear, what was the connection that we had to that church again? Did we?
Well, Colonel Joseph, his daddy is the one that built this church
Built it, okay.
originally in 1632.
Right.
And like I say, it's in Wrights. It's in Wrights County, Wright County, which is like I say, 4 miles south of Smithfield, Virginia, and it's on Route 10 right here. Okay. Okay, that's the church location. Now you can't make that out too good on this, but
Yeah.
but and it's the original. The outward appearance is original. It was used during the Civil War. I think that the Yankees used it, and they use it as a stable for their animals, their horses and all. And they used his house, which was standing at that time, as their offices, you know,
Okay.
for the troops and all.
Right.
All right. So the last question we kind of already know because it's talking about where our like records recorded, which would be all right here.
Yeah.
These are all the documents that we have,
Mhm.
and that they're here. So that was the last question that I had.